Hi, my name's Leona from Supra Conscioussoul, and this reading really, it was kind of inspired because I went to put up a reading on, I think it was 2 nights ago. I put up a reading, it was the reading for Taurus, and as soon as I put it up, something felt wrong. It felt like, it didn't feel like the message was for everyone else. It felt like the things that I was going through in my life, because I have a lot in Taurus. I have like 5 different planets in Taurus. And it just felt like the stuff that was going on in my life was starting to muddle into the reading. So I pulled the reading. I think about 30 people saw the reading, but I decided to pull it because it didn't feel right, and then I had to check myself. So I checked myself and looked into what I had to deal with. But in doing so, part of our job as readers is also to kind of like, we have our stuff to go through, and I know there's been videos up about that. We've got our stuff to go through as well, and especially with me, like a Cancer moon right about now. So it's about, I have a Cancer moon and the moon's in Cancer, plus we've got the eclipse coming up, and it's that whole kind of energy. It becomes too much, especially when you're dealing with the psychic realm, because it just feels like not only are you taking in your normal everyday messages, but now you're over emotional, you're feeling like extra, and you're extra insensitive, you're extra intuitive, but sometimes it can lead you down a different path. So the reading that I'm doing today is slightly different, yeah? Now, I'm looking at it in the sense that, how can I use what I'm going through in order to transmute that and help you guys? So I decided to do a reading for the collective, but this reading is only going to resonate with you if you are co-parenting with another parent and they are not doing what they're supposed to do, or you're feeling they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Hence the title of this video, which I haven't decided yet, but I'm sure it'll be something to do with along those lines. So I'm going to try and stay neutral, yeah? So I thought, not only will I get help from this, because then I can watch back the video, and it's different when you're trying to read for yourself. I can't read for myself because my feelings are going to get in there. So in transmuting it and making it a collective reading, now I can then look back on it and then deal with the energies in a different way, let's say. Let's transmute it all the way around. So what's interesting for me straight away is that we have two knights in this reading and 2 kings. And they are both very firmly defined. We have them in both rows, and they're very much pointing in opposite directions. So that says a lot. So the first king that we have is the King of Wands. Now what's interesting is this card talks about a kind of father knows best attitude. It also talks about having a sense of pride, yeah, feeling like our pride's been hurt in some way. This is either your energy or the other person's energy, right? I mean, it's 2 complete rows, so you're going to know which side of the energy on. There's a case of one-upmanship with this energy. There's a case of trying to beat each other, trying to, it's fighting over pride, fighting over arrogance. It's assumptions with this card, and sometimes it's a need to kind of look at assumptions, yeah? Look at them in the face. Look at them and see whether they still hold any validity, yeah? There's also, the negative of this card would be a lack of a positive role model. This card, when he's in the upright, when his energy is engaged, or her energy, they are very nurturing. They are very loving. But if their energy is taken away, which this reading seems, it's almost like they can either be that leader, or they can kind of shirk away from responsibility, shirk away from power, yeah, shirk away from that nurturing as well, which is quite interesting. So in opposition, we also have the Knight of Pentacles. Now, these two are going, as you can see, this is how I'm seeing them sat on the reading. They're going in very opposite directions. Now, the thing about the Knight of Pentacles is that they feel that they're very loyal and dedicated to their cause. They're very much one foot in front of the other, even if it's kind of in a stubborn way, even if it's kind of like a little bit too persistent. It's somebody that always gets the job done. It's somebody that has to kind of get the job done. The Pentacles is also a suit about security and financial security. So it's somebody who needs to kind of have that financial security. It needs to have that, and they need to see a development, yeah? It's also about value with the Knights and with the Knight of Pentacles as well, because it's almost like you could feel like your efforts are being devalued in a sense, yeah? But the negative of this card is that there's a kind of self-interest. Like this knight has a focus, yeah? He knows that that's his goal, and he or she will walk one step persistently, patiently, stubbornly towards that goal. So as you can see, we have two different energies. We have an energy of somebody who's either all in or all out, yeah? And where we have pride on this side, we have stubbornness on this side. And this one's, well, is a consistent energy. So they're like, well, I've been kind of doing this for God knows how long. So they're both, neither of them are wrong in what they're doing, but they're both coming from a totally different angle. Now, it's more emphasized when you see that underneath the King of Wands, yeah, we have this Knight of Swords. Now, the Knight of Swords is fast energy, fast paced, kind of hasty, it's a little bit of a know-it-all energy. They can be a little bit critical. They can criticize. They can think they know how to do things. Almost kind of goes with this, father knows best. This is kind of like the verbal kind of action. It's like, I know this is my truth and I'm standing for it. And it's that kind of, it's this energy will attack, yeah? Whereas this energy is not, they're going the opposite. So this energy will attack. It's an air energy. It's about winds. It's about incoming storms. It's about, but it's also, they attack and then have a defense as well. So it's like, you can't really win. Whereas this person's just focused on their goal, yeah? But what's interesting, underneath the Knight of Pentacles, we have the King of Pentacles. So now we have that knight versus that knight, and then this king versus this king. And yet again, it's like two different energies, but this energy is very much echoing this energy. They're very bullish, they're very stubborn, they want what's best for the family, they want what's best for the security, they're thinking about the finances in a situation. It's about wanting to provide a stable environment, wanting to have the finances. Whereas this energy is kind of in or out. It's kind of, it's stubborn, but in a different way. This energy is also an argumentative energy, whereas this energy is kind of like, it's an earth energy, so it's staying put in there. It's like, look, I have to be here. I'm doing this. This is what I do. This is what I do best, yeah? And the knight's like, well, and the King of Wands is like, well, if you're gonna challenge what I know, then I'm gonna go off in another direction, yeah? I'm gonna go off in this direction, whereas, oh, these two are going off in this direction. So that's how it's going, which is pretty interesting. So it's also about, what's different about this energy is that it can run out of steam. It can also say things and then not kind of change their mind, let's say. They can be all in love with one thing 1 minute and then something else catches their eye and then they can be off again, because the King of Wands follows their passions, yeah? So if we look at, whereas this energy is very secure, wants to stay put. It's a fixed energy, yeah, wants to stay put, and will kind of bring about success due to force in some ways, yeah. It will kind of, they will push and push and push to get their own way. Yeah, so whichever side of this you're on, what is kind of dividing this energy is we have the Ten of Pentacles. Now, the Ten of Pentacles is about family values, structure. It's about finances. It's about feeling like there's quarrels in the family. It's about extended family being hurt as a result as well. It's also about our ancestors and them wanting to kind of watch over the situation, wanting to kind of, imagine if your ancestors were kind of watching over this situation, they'd want it all to be kind of brought back together, yeah? But this energy is a very material energy. It's very much practicality. It's very much about trying to survive. It's very much about, also, sometimes with this, it can be family advice that gets ignored or wisdom that gets ignored. In the centre of the reading, we have the Three of Pentacles. Now, the Three of Pentacles talks about help after a long struggle. It talks about building up a structure. It talks about hard work. It talks about working together to create things. It talks about value as well. It's Pentacles. It is very much about each party not feeling like they're valued in a situation. So for some as well, I'm getting that it's a need to kind of stop being childish with this card, or it's like you're either going to build it with quality as well with this card, or you're not going to bother, or it's going to be something kind of shoddy. It's about making sure that you put the energy in correctly with this card as well. So then we have the Four of Wands. So this is in the future, Rose. So this is what we're working towards now. This is completion of a phase. It's marriage, but I don't see that happening. That's not where this reading is going. And I would like to say that if you're actually in a relationship with the other person that you're co-parenting with, this probably won't work, because I've pulled it from a sense of being totally split, like a long time ago. So the Four of Wands also next to the Knight of Pentacles shows that they need a rest. This person needs a rest. The Knight of Pentacles, whoever identifies with that character, needs a rest. They've been working hard. They are focused on this. They're facing that. Whereas I feel like this energy has kind of gone off and done their own thing. Whereas the Knight of Pentacles, he's kind of looking to create more stability. It's looking to kind of re-establish things, to kind of, but I feel like for some people it could be that as well. This talks about marriage, but it could be that some people are not feeling the partner, that they're not liking the fact that the other person's going off to get married perhaps, or they're not there's some kind of or feeling like there's energies of people breaking up the family as well with the Four of Wands in reverse as well. But there's also a need to kind of give thanks for what you've got and what you've achieved so far. Underneath that, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Now, this talks about slow progress. It talks about a need to have patience. It needs to talk about a reassessing of the situation. So for some, the reassessing is that they need to create a structure whereas everybody can kind of put these issues to one side, or even that maybe with this we got three people as well. It could be bringing in a third party to help with the situation as well. Underneath that, we also, there's an anxiety and a distrust with this as well. It's feeling like things ain't coming. But what we also have underneath that is the Star card. Now, this talks about healing. It talks about having honest conversations. It talks about being open. It talks about having faith. But most of all, what I'm getting for this is to be thankful for what you do get. To be ever thankful for what you do get. And I feel like with this card, it's just saying, do you know what? Let go. and let God, because some situations are guided, and for certain times, in order to create peace, if you have to step away from the situation, then that's what you got to do. Take care, stay blessed.